Hello, this is Darice. Welcome to Moonlife Astro. And today we're going to talk about the upcoming total lunar Pisces eclipse. And I want to give you an example of what an eclipse could potentially feel like. When I was 31, I was fired, dumped, and evicted all within the same week. And I think it was like each day. Like one day I got dumped, the next day I got fired, the next day I got evicted. So basically within like a 72-hour period. So major endings all at once. This is what an eclipse can sometimes feel like when it moves through our lives personally. I certainly hope nothing catastrophic like that happens to you. Um, but clearly, I survived because I'm here. And I talked about this in my other video on the eclipse series, but I got to it kind of late in the video. So if you didn't listen to the whole video, you probably missed the story. So this is why I'm sharing it again now at the beginning, because I've been thinking about that week and how it totally transformed my life, how it transformed how I see myself, how I move through the world. And it put me on a completely new trajectory than I was planning on at the time. I was in a relationship with someone who didn't love me, but I was in denial about that. I was in a career that I was bored to death by, but I thought it was good for me. I thought it looked good. I had skills that matched it. I was in marketing. I've always been great at communicating. I love writing. I love talking to people. I thought I'd be a natural fit for marketing and public relations. And I just wasn't. I did not like doing that kind of work at all. But I thought I should make it work because I thought it's stable, it's respectable, and this is something I can do the rest of my life. But I ended up not doing that at all. And as a result of that, I ended up taking a job as a secretary at a small business. And actually, the next day, I got that job through a temp agency because I've always been like, all right, I got to work, I got to pay bills, I'm going to figure it out. So I got fired. And I think 2 days later, I had this temp job. And this woman I met that day, oh, because the first day on the temp job, my freaking wallet got stolen. Like it was a crazy week, right? Not enough to get dumped and fired and evicted, but you also get your freaking wallet stolen. Like, hello. Like, I really thought God was mad at me that week. But it turned out to be this amazing blessing because I broke down in the bathroom crying over all of this. And the woman who worked at the temp job I had, she saw me crying. She asked what was going on. And this woman had known me for literally like 10 minutes. But when I told her everything, she invited me to live in her house, like rent free, until I figured out my next step. And she and her fiance, they let me stay in their spare bedroom. She let me use her garage for all of my stuff. Like she was one of those angels that like God puts in your life when you need one. And she helped me like find another job. And once I was settled, like once I had a new job, once I had a new place to live, like our friendship ended. Like she was literally in my life to help me for that time and that transition. And I will always be forever grateful to her, because I was living in a city where I didn't have family. I had just started to make friends. And like she didn't know me from Adam. And she literally like saved me. And you just never know when you're going to get help, when you're going to get a miracle. And it's also because of that experience. Like whenever I doubt what I'm doing or what's going to happen in my life, I remember that time. And I remember that God showed up for me and made a way for me. And as a result of doing these temp jobs and doing admin work, I started to learn what I was really interested in, what I really liked. And it gave me the space and the time to do a lot of the spiritual work and the retreats and the meditation retreats I've done over the last 15, 20 years. It set me on this course. And then when I ended up moving into a new place with new roommates, who I became really good friends with one of them, who he introduced me to his whole friend circle, who introduced me to other people that I ended up being friends with for like 10 years. So I just want to share that because this is how eclipses can play out in the long run for people's lives. My intuition is that this particular eclipse is going to bring a lot of seismic changes and shifts to people's lives individually and collectively. And so if that happens, I want to offer anyone who experiences that this story is hope. that there is a divine plan for our lives. And that if you are on a path that is not in alignment with your soul's higher purpose, and if you get knocked off that course that at the moment feels like it's perfect for you, it's the right thing, know that there is another plan happening, that there are resources if you're open to having the faith to receive those resources, to be supported, and to have miracles happen. I do believe that eclipses open up miracle energy for people if we allow it, if we're willing to receive it in that way. So I just wanted to start off with that. Welcome to the channel if you are new to the channel, and welcome back. I do appreciate everyone who returns. We're going to have a total lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 7th. It's going to be exact at 2:08 p.m. ET, Eastern Time. Now, Pisces, it rules spirituality, our imagination, our creativity, our ability to vision, and also our ability to surrender. And eclipses are often about surrendering, just as that experience I just went through actually demonstrates. So this could be an opportunity to ask yourself, where have you been clinging to an outdated story of who you are? Where do you need to surrender control so that clarity can find you? And I'll put those two questions in the comments below. Now, for eclipses, I usually don't have any kind of ritual at all. I feel like the energy is too unstable. There are other astrologers who think it's fine to do rituals around eclipses. My motto with eclipses is just rest. You just keep the couple of days before or after as open as possible, lighten the load, spend time with people that you really care about, who nurture you, who make you feel safe and comfortable if you are going to do anything. I think a couple of eclipses that maybe have gone out to dinner with like a really good friend, or like just hung out at their house and just like watch TV and movies, that sort of thing. Like super low key, low chill. If I'm by myself, I literally just read, I binge watch TV. Like I chill, I stay in the house and like I relax, because the energy can be crazy around eclipses and people can be really emotional, really intense. Sometimes there are conflicts. Sometimes actually also because the actual energy is unstable. Sometimes there are power outages, which can lead to accidents and all kinds of things. And hopefully none of that will happen to anyone. But my motto is with eclipses, just go within, relax, refuel, recharge, that kind of thing. So basically avoid overbooking yourself that week if you can. Give yourself time to rest and recover. I also think this Pisces eclipse in particular can be a great opportunity for us to define ourselves, define myself. Because when you have major changes, like I talked about, losing a job, losing a place, losing a relationship, it forced me to redefine who I am, what matters to me. And like I said in my other video about this eclipse season overall, this is preparing us for the upcoming Aquarius Leo eclipses, which are going to begin in February 2026. So Aquarius Leo, that is the me versus we axis in astrology. So this could be a really great opportunity to look at how do you want to define yourself? Because this is also going to be happening against the backdrop of Pluto and Aquarius. So just as our collective is going through major transitions, major upheavals, I think if we can do those same upheavals on an internal level and to do it consciously, that shadow work, it'll make the transitions that we're going to be going through over the next few years even easier. So this is a 6-month window where you can really look at your identity. What values do you want to define your next chapter, both in your business and in your personal life? How do you want to be seen, heard, recognized in your business and creative life? In a nutshell, what old roles no longer fit the person that you are becoming? In terms of creating content, this might actually be a great time to reframe some of your messaging, your offerings, and your positioning so that it better reflects the person that you're becoming. You can use this as an opportunity to release who you no longer are. This eclipse is also activating the North Node, which is our soul's calling. This represents our destiny, our expansion. And so this is often why people have losses during eclipse season as well. You may have people leave your business, leave your industry. If you have a job, there may be people unexpectedly resign or get fired. This often happens during eclipse season. And a lot of that is that individual's North Node being activated. Their soul is saying, here is a path you need to be on. This one that you're on is no longer working. It's not serving you. This is not where you belong. So during this particular eclipse, you may feel an inner tug to either change your business direction or maybe just reimagine relationships with maybe certain clients, certain vendors. And you may also want to look at visibility, your leadership, how that's being reflected in your industry. How are you showing up? And it could be an invitation to pursue something that's outside of your comfort zone, that feels like a risk, but it may be worth it in the long run. And as a reminder, none of this is about hustling harder. It's really about choosing the path that's aligned with your higher calling. I also wanted to give you another example. I was thinking about Beyonce and her trilogy, Renaissance, Cowboy Carter, and then Act Three. I think that's supposed to come out in 2026. I remember that Cowboy Carter was released in 2024 around eclipse season. And that was a whole new reinvention of how she was seen as a pop star. I certainly never expected Beyonce to do a country album effectively. And I wanted to go back to Renaissance, which came out in July 2022. That was about reclaiming joy, embodiment, self expression. And now Cowboy Carter was a completely like new reinvention of who she is, how she presents herself as an artist. And it was also going against some structures, like that was a big deal, I believe, in the country industry for her to do that album. And I'm sure it rattled a lot of people, especially the success of it. And this is what eclipse energy can do. And I'm expecting Act Three to be another reinvention of who Beyonce is as an artist. And so, just as artists can redefine themselves, we are collectively redefining our own identity during this particular eclipse portal. So, this is an opportunity to also ask yourself, what legacy am I building through my business, my creativity, and my leadership? What legacy am I building through my business, creativity, and leadership? And again, I just want to dive deeper into preparing for the 2026 Aquarius Leo eclipse season. Aquarius is about the collective, innovation, networks, technology. Leo, powerful, authentic self expression, creative leadership. So, this next 6 months is the transition from that Pisces Virgo eclipse series. Pisces, the vision, the dream, the big vision. And then Virgo, the details, how to break it down, how to make it happen. Aquarius, Leo, we get to look at who we are and we get to look at how our businesses reflect who we are. This is also a great opportunity to audit your business model. Is it aligned with who you are becoming? This could also be these next 6 months an opportunity to expand your visibility. How do you want to take up space in your industry? Where do you want to take up space in your industry? It could also be a great opportunity to build collaborative systems, and also begin aligning with more communities that match your future vision if you're not already doing that. So the next 6 months as we transition into that next eclipse series, that'll be a really good opportunity to do that type of thing. So if any of this resonated with you, feel free to put in the comments, reinvention or renaissance, identity. Also, I want to invite you to join my community on the Skool platform. It's $9 a month or $50 for the whole year. It does come with a free 7-day trial. Currently in that Skool membership, I offer a weekly Q&A, so you can ask me questions about the astrology, the transits, planning, productivity, anything that I talk about on my YouTube channel as well. I'm also looking for feedback from people on things they'd like to see within that container. I'm going to be developing some other stuff to offer people over the next few months. So I'd love to have your input and your feedback on that as well. And also, I think it'll be really wonderful to have a community where people can grow together, support one another, and go through these turbulent changes and challenges together. As I like to remind people often on this channel, we are becoming the new human. We're becoming a new species of humanity. And we're developing new skills, new consciousness. And the more we have others to help us on that journey, I think the easier it'll be in the long run. And also, I just think it'll be a lot more fun. So I'd love to see you in that space. There will be a link to that below in the comments. Take care of yourself. I will be back with the astrology for the week next week. Later in the month, I will do a separate video on the Virgo eclipse, which is the other part of this particular eclipse series as well. Feel free to like the video if you did get some value out of it. It does help me get the message out to more people. Also, please do subscribe to the channel. Again, that helps me bring more people into this community as well. Sending you so much love, grace, ease, and joy. Easefully yours, Darius.